because there's somebody that may be watching this podcast or sees my content out there and say, okay, well, it looks like me. He's from the same background as me. He's got the same hair as me. Okay, whatever he's doing is achievable. So my objective is to keep it completely raw, like an uncut Sierra Leone diamond, right? Seriously, because I don't want to achieve the things that I'm destined for and give people the impression that you need to be a certain way, or in the community, we like to state the phrase sell out, right?
Hey, what's good? Thank you guys for tuning in. My name's Gov and welcome to another episode of the Property Newbie Podcast. On this week's show, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Ke'nan Buckley, who's a gas and plumbing engineer from Birmingham turned property investor. Despite a difficult start to his property journey, including quitting a training academy along with a ton of property horror stories, he's managed to use a rent-to-rent model to obtain 2 rent-to-rent properties, one of which was cash flowing him £1,300 per month, which is just absolutely phenomenal. In addition to giving out golden advice on how newbies can get their own rent-to-rent, we also talk about the importance of self-development, mental and physical well-being, and if you know Kenan, which you will by the end of this podcast, just keeping it real and keeping it honest. As always, if you enjoy the video, please be sure to like, please be sure to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications for more videos like this. And finally, if you want to listen to the podcast on the go, it's available on Podbean, Apple Podcast, and Spotify, the links for which are all in the description below. But enough about that. Let's crack on with the show. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. So we're live in 3, 2, 1. Mr. Ke'nan Buckley, welcome to the show, my bro.
Greetings. It feels like I've been here before.
You guys don't want to know what happened, man. Maybe we'll have to put that in the outtakes or something, man. But thank you for coming on, man. This is now officially cup of tea number 2. Tell
Two? No, this is number 3 for me.
It's number 3 for you. Tell us a little bit about what's in this tea, bro. I think we need to start with that. I've never tried it before. It's amazing.
So I brought tea to Gov's house. So inside here is ginseng, ginger, and honey. It's very nice. For those who know, ginseng works wonders. Thank me later.
Yeah, man. In every department, apparently.
Every department. But the reason why I got it is because this has kept me awake for how long we've been doing this? 3 hours?
You've been awake for like 3 days now, isn't it?
It's 4 o'clock now, so I've been awake officially for 11 hours. It's crazy. But, yeah.
That is crazy. Before we get into property, I want to know what you've been up to, man. You joined me at a crazy time, man. You joined me where, I won't say the virus's name. We got COVID-19. We got, now we can say that apparently, I don't think YouTube mind. Obviously we got the murder of George Floyd and the riots and obviously the Black Lives Matter movement. We've got lockdown. We've got the world economy failing, Fed printing money. So it's been an interesting couple of months, man. So let's start with, how have you found lockdown for a start?
I found lockdown a good time for myself, right? Not only that, I say that to say this, it hasn't affected me economically, right? Okay. Because for those who don't know, I'm a qualified gas engineer and plumber, so I've been able to attend emergencies, still earn my little pocket money to buy some time to invest in my self-development. Now, I've been predominantly using that time to upskill and invest more time in reading and improving my self-awareness as an individual. I didn't know I lacked so much self-awareness until actual lockdown. Like it goes so deep where I actually monitor how my body reacts to certain foods and teas and stuff like that.
Is it?
Yeah.
I've noticed that on your Facebook, you're going down a really health conscious route. All of a sudden, man, I see you in the kitchen cooking. Obviously, you treated me to some special tea. I don't actually know what you've put in that tea or whether it's legal or not in it, but it's amazing. I feel amazing. But I've noticed you've proper gone down the sort of like healthy eating, cooking, sort of like revitalizing sort of route.
Look, if you want to produce great things, we need to consume great things.
Oh yeah, I need that on a billboard.
I can't say that. You should put quotes. I think for those who know, I love my quotes. If you guys been watching my YouTube channel, I got like, it looks a bit tatty, yeah, in my room, but I got like quotes of, I got biblical quotes, quotes on artists and stuff like that. Which when I wake up, I look at it and I think, yeah, man.
Does it inspire you?
Yeah, it inspires me. It keeps me motivated.
You put some of these quotes up in one of your essays as well, didn't you? I didn't even recognize it. I thought it was something from like Tupac or something, man. It was crazy.
No.
It's deep.
Yeah, it's deep. It's a piece of me in my essay is like,
yeah.
For those who don't know what essay means, serviced accommodation.
We'll get onto that for sure, man. So, okay, so I've noticed you've, like I said, you've been doing a lot of like self-improvement, a lot of sort of self awareness. You mentioned that as well. Give us some details about what specifically you've been doing. So obviously I know you've been eating healthy and working out. Has there been any other aspects to it?
Wow, you can tell I've been working out, innit?
Your sleeves are a bit loose, bro.
Yeah, this is extra big.
Oh, is it? Okay.
The large is like sense. Too tight, so I had to. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Sense. But breaking it down. But yeah, so self-improvement. Where do I start? Let's start from the beginning. Right? I've been, as I said, I've been investing a lot of time in reading things that will contribute to my success in the property game, from law to property as an overall view, marketing,
accounts probably.
Accounts as well.
Yeah, man, I know it's coming up to that time of year now, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's important to kind of outsource that type of stuff, okay? And because your accountant will save you more money than you think you will. Let people whose professions are their professions stick to their professions. 100%. Don't try to be a jack of all trades unless you feel comfortable doing that. But focus on what you know. But yeah, self-improvement, geez. It's mostly reading, Gov. It's mostly reading. Now, from secondary school, I never actually took the time to read a book from the front to the back. You've heard of that book, Lord of the Flies or something like that.
Yeah, GCSE, man, that reminds me of.
It's just English literature at that time that like kind of scared me away because it's so advanced, and I'm thinking to myself, I need to improve on things in my life. You see certain adults that at this age or older, they find it difficult to read, from front to cover or whatever piece of writing they want to read. And for me, because I didn't invest that time when I was young to read more than I should, I'm essentially playing the catch-up game.
Okay.
Right? And that's what keeps me motivated, because I've always feel the need to become smarter, to gain more knowledge. It's like I'm thirsty, and I only study things that are not taught in school, right?
Love that.
Business, law, everything type of stuff, yeah, because it's important. Like, if a cop tries to arrest you, you need to know your rights.
True.
You need to know how to defend yourself, right? Articulately and intelligently, right? So I've invested a lot of time in that. So yeah, practically self-improvement is the key.
You said from secondary school onwards.
Yeah.
What were you like at school? Give us an insight into your life. What were you?
Man, I was very energetic. I was troublesome in the wrong hands.
Okay.
And my upbringing was good in a way, very disciplined in a way. Because my pops, my mother, we all lived together as a unit, and I had my other siblings that were visiting us on the weekend and stuff like that. So I was always connected in some form. So it was good. From an early age, I was taught how to read, how to write, And the energy that I had from a young age, my pops channeled that into football.
Okay.
So I've been literally I was a sick defender. I was similar to like Carlos, Brazilian Carlos, yeah. Roberto Carlos, yeah, for those who don't know. And I was a sick defender. And all my energy and all my parents' energy went into me to become a footballer. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. You know, they wasn't paying me enough, so I decided to go into property. So now I'm playing. But it was good, but I lost the passion for it.
Okay.
I think my heart wasn't there from the start because it was drilled into me.
Was it more your dad sort of like said this is
Yeah.
your path? And okay.
So that passion kind of ran out of fuel. He was hoping that I would become a footballer.
Yeah.
But it's like when I've become of age now, the passion died out. Despite my dad's efforts of literally visiting every weekend. Obviously, when my parents split, he used to come down. He used to dedicate a lot of time into teaching me certain things in football and just investing a lot of time into that. And you know, when I'm by myself, I'm not training, so I could be training on the weekend, but throughout the week, my heart's not there.
Yeah.
So you know, things went to pot in a way, but it's not my passion. I'm discovering my passion right now. So my childhood was good, filled with good memories. It could have been better, right? But I'm here, sitting here
So
with you.
decision
It's made
today.
me who I am as an individual. So I don't look at it in a bad way. So
What's it like, sort of, in your culture, in terms of? I'll tell you about my upbringing. So mine was very traditional, and this is something that I was talking to Richie about on the last podcast a couple of weeks ago, whereby your parents have a certain view in how they want you to turn out, and it all comes from love. All of it stems from love, but it could be how you spend your life in terms of your career. It could be where you spend your money. It could be even who you spend time with, and a lot of that is sort of imposed on you because that's all the generation above us know. What was it like for yourself growing up? What was it like? 'Cause I know you mentioned something there about your dad being quite sort of like militant. Was he militant in that respect as well?
yeah, my pops is a very a militant, cultural man. So it was like my way or the highway type of thing.
Yeah.
So in a way, it can be good and it can be bad. I say that because someone's intentions can be good, but their methods are wrong, right?
So true.
So during that time, it was good. I had a sense of direction, guidance, but you know, it's very dissimilar to our cultures because there's no pathway you need to take. In a way, I can proudly sit here and say I'm a product of a broken family, right? And I have no shame in saying that because, as I said, it's made me the individual who I am. And now I kind of yearn for a unit, and everything I do on a daily basis is in contribution to that unit, which I would like to set up for my family moving forward. So it was just a case of, if you can become a footballer, then, you know, earn a good wage and it'll be good. Obviously, you have your education on the side as well and make something of it. But, you know, when I look back and presently as well, I don't have family members that I look up to in a way where I want to be like that person to kind of drive me forward. So I kind of have to self-fuel myself in a way. Like, none of my family members own businesses. Yeah.
Okay.
I got one uncle that's got a few properties, but conventionally, you know,
The buy to let.
you'll know a bit more about that. But there's no driving force, no inspiration. So at a young age now, around about secondary school, I look for different role models. I'm not saying my parents wasn't role models, but you know, if I seen a successful property investor that looked like me, I'd be like, well, that's the inspiration. So
Do you feel like a lot of your actions now are actually driving towards
all the
that as a
time.
goal? Literally, yeah, I can kind of sense it. Everything that you're doing is not only to improve yourself, but it's also to be a mirror to someone else that they can see you and be like, you know what, that could potentially be me, or just show a bit of hope. I get this feeling, and I might be wrong, so you can correct me if I am, even though it's my show. So, but I feel like I get a sense of you almost have something to prove to the people around you. Maybe it's your friends, maybe it's your family. Always feel like you've got a drive that's a lot deeper than someone said that I can't do it. I feel like it's almost like, guys, I need to show you so you can see the light. Is there any truth in that, or how do you feel about that?
Yeah, there's definitely elements of truth, and I can confidently say that stems from the feeling of being inadequate. Now, that's all stemmed from my pops, in all honesty, right? And in hindsight, maybe it was his way of imposing his limitations that he has of himself onto me, right? Maybe he did it unknowingly, but there's words of belittlement that I used to receive, and it's kind of knocked my confidence, etc. So that's why I have this forever burning desire to become something or fulfill my potential, right? And I'm not saying that the feeling of being inadequate is the sole driver to propel me into greater things.
It's one aspect of it.
It's just one aspect, because if I relied on that, then if unfortunate circumstances was to arise, then my steam would go.
Yeah.
Right? So I've based all these factors on which contribute to my passion to drive me further, such as I would like to be an inspiration to those who are from the same background. It could be socially, economically, culturally, as I clearly state in my intro to my YouTube channel. And how I'm feeling back then is no different to how I'm feeling now. And that's the whole objective, really, is I would like to, teach, to be honest. And I just, every time I talk to people, I somehow end up just telling them, you need to do this, you need to do that, because you're not doing it right.
You got a bit of a nickname in your family, innit? You want to tell them what their nickname is?
They call me the lecturer.
A professor, man.
Not professor status yet. However, I wouldn't mind being called professor, but we're not chasing no status around here, yeah. So yeah, but I just want to see people fulfill their potential as well as I want to fill mine. So in terms of where it's all stemmed from, obviously that feeling as well, but I don't allow my ego to get in the way. So I'll be able to put that aside and think to myself, okay, what else is fueling this drive, and kind of identify other factors as well. So
no, I like that.
Yeah.
I think one important aspect of what you're saying, not only self-improvement, self-awareness, self-education, is just being yourself.
Of course.
And you see a lot of that. And I was talking to the Fontaine brothers about it on the first ever podcast. I know you watched it. Whereby you sometimes tend to lose yourself in situations, like especially when it comes to, like, for example, like business, you might end up having to put a front on. You might lose a bit of you. Have you always managed to keep yourself as real as possible, or are there certain situations where you've had to be slightly, like, maybe a different person, or not be entirely yourself?
I've had to adjust according to the circumstances, right?
Okay.
But moving forward, and prior to that, right, I've always kept it 100, right? What you see today is what you get. What people see in my Facebook videos or whatever content I put out there, that is who I am. There's a great song by the Dramatics. It's called What You See Is What You Get, right? Bad boy tune. But it's everything to me in terms of my integrity, right? Because there's somebody that may be watching this podcast or sees my content out there and say, okay, well, it looks like me. He's from the same background as me. He's got the same hair as me. Okay, whatever he's doing is achievable. So my objective is to keep it completely raw, like an uncut Sierra Leone diamond, right? Seriously, because I don't want to achieve the things that I'm destined for and give people the impression that you need to be a certain way, or in the community, we like to state the phrase sell out, right? I'm not here to sell out. I'm here to keep it 100 and see how far I can take this. And that's why independence economically is so important, because once you are economically dependent upon someone, you will always need to be accustomed or adapt yourself to environment. Yeah. So economics is vital.
That's quite powerful, to be honest with you. To be self-sufficient is probably the goal of life. As you mentioned, if you're reliant on someone, whether it be in the workplace, whether it be family, friends, you're always having to be slightly different to fit the expectations of that person to get what you need, which is everything from them.
And it's difficult. Imagine if you don't keep it 100. It's more effort to maintain that image, right, than just being yourself. Because what did they say? It takes more muscles to frown and smile.
Yeah. I need that quote up as well.
Oh, we can have a bag of quotes in here, yeah? And I say that to say this. Whatever I say or how I say it, I just say it how it is. You know, from the words that I use, you know, sometimes you can't use it in certain environments. As long as you're consciously aware of that, then it's okay. But don't totally adjust yourself. You know what I mean? There's only so many times you can mold yourself in a way, but you can mold yourself to such an extent. How are you going to reform?
You lose yourself.
You lose yourself.
Yeah, you forget who you are.
You lose yourself. But I'm here to keep it 100, really. It's like the property game. Personal branding, right? Very questionable. I'd rather just be myself, and whoever I attract in my life, right, is who I want to work with. Like, you know, we've been speaking for quite some time now, and you've got to know me. I've got to know you. We have similarities, and I'd rather, you know, have you on my line and attract you in my life than somebody else that believes I'm somebody else and they're attracted to that quality or that part of my trait.
You can't put on the facade forever.
I'm not involved. Check it out. Facebook, recent events, Black Lives Matter. You're seeing people posting stuff that, whoa, we never knew you thought like that. Yeah. Hold on, you never knew me. Yeah. I'm militant. I'm not saying I am militant in some form, right? But other individuals will be like, they're very militant in their way of thinking, but people are so accustomed to that character, like, whoa, you just caught me off guard. Yeah. Now I have to delete you.
It's something that Gary Vaynerchuk says, isn't it? Where he says, he says, obviously the world is now dominated by social media. Social media, all it's done is expose what everyone else was thinking before it was there. Now everything is just public. Do you know what I mean? You can't hide or shy away from it. You can only keep an act up for so long.
That's it.
All of your comments have got eyes on them. And like I said, the easiest thing to do is be yourself. And you'd rather, anyway, in life, you'd rather have 100 loyal people than 1 million people who couldn't care whether you failed or were successful.
If you look at all the elderly people, how many friends do they have in the end?
It's very true.
So I'd rather have 2 friends that I can call my friends rather than 5, 10 in a party. You know what I mean? I'd rather say, confident in my heart, if something kicks off in this place, I know that he's got my back and he's got my back. I'm safe. You know, and that's been my journey over the past couple of years, where I've had to weed out those type of people to the point where it's my circle's so tight, you know, it's just
Do I get
scary.
Do I get to be one of your friends?
It's one of the other. Say that again.
Do I get to be one of you?
Yeah, man. I know that, or feel that you have a clean heart, and once I feel that energy from an individual, I'm like, okay, I can kick it. I can kick it, that individual. It's like, no, when I do my property stuff and setting on my essays, I've got friends that are kind of chasing me down for money, and who we almost had a fight last week at a party, literally because I don't know his mindset of where he sees I'm going and stuff like that. But I got another friend who I said to him, okay, I don't mind giving you money, just name your price. And he's just like, I work for free. Do you get me? I work for free. And at the time, he didn't even have a job. And obviously, he's looking after his manners. He's looking after his nephew. So he's just like, but he still wants to dedicate his time to contribute to my journey, have some sort of, just offer what a friend would do at a time. And for me, I said to him, look, you can come along. I don't want no money coming out of your account for helping me. So if that's the case, then I'll pay for your public transport, whatever food that you need, I'll pay for that. And you can help me. At this time, obviously, the budget's tight. I just need people that can just offer their time if it's not, if it's convenient for you, okay? And he's done that. And for me, I'd, big up Wiz. I have to put his name on it. He's probably watching this, but you'll see him all over my YouTube channels. But I always got to give credit where credit is due because, people are so invaluable. I was talking to an investor yesterday on the phone for about half an hour. I like to understand my clients. What do they want? And he said, I'm nice. I'm just looking to invest in people. Okay. That's it. So, and taking it back, I'd rather have a few friends that I can count on my thumbs. At least I know, I can call them at any time.
I guess this again just ties back into you growing as an individual. It naturally happens sometimes. You have your childhood friends, your friends that you've grown up with, and you change, and that change, how it's sort of taken by the people that are closest to you, maybe good, maybe bad, but for you to sort of keep moving forward, it's important sometimes to ease off some of these relationships if they feel like they're hindering you moving forward. You
got to grow.
Yeah.
If they're not growing, then they're dying, right? But you need to surround your people who are growing, who are thinking bigger things. Because if you're not thinking bigger things, then you're thinking small. It's like you're telling me about podcasts, you're telling me about stock trading. Like, these are not conversations that I have with who I once called friends. Yeah. You know what I mean? I've weeded out so many people. It's, as I previously stated, it's just crazy. There's a quote, they say, if people pray to God to keep enemies out of their life, and then they start losing friends. You know what I mean? But look, you have to outgrow your circle. Life is chapters. Okay, me and him had a thing back then, but unfortunately, he's doing the same thing. He doesn't want to grow. We have to end it, unfortunately. We can still chat, yeah, but in terms of time, investing my time, then it has to go elsewhere.
See, when you start a business, which obviously we'll get onto your property stuff in a minute, time is so massively, like, before that you undervalue how important time actually is. Whether it's time when you're in your job, coming home and watching Netflix, which you use as your chill out time, whether it's time you don't spend exercising, don't spend with family, don't spend doing the right things. It's only until you start a business where you've got to fight for every single day that you realize I can't even sleep. Yeah, as you can tell by my black eyes, I don't sleep, man.
I can't tell.
Thank you, bro. But it is important. Now, one of the things that you do a lot of, which I'll just go back to briefly, is you do a lot of reading. Yeah. I notice you're a big advocate of that. Obviously, you're dropping quotes all day today, which is amazing. One of the books which I actually read myself is Atomic Habits. Tell me about that book and how it's changed your life.
In addition to compound effect.
Compound effect is
necessary. One word, necessary, right? And goes back to what I said. If you want to produce great things, you need to consume great things, right? So, look, everything that we want to do in life has to stem from us. So we need to get our asses in check, right? So, and how we get ourselves in check is by creating systems, being disciplined in order to be the person we wish to be. So if I want to become successful, okay, what do successful people do? Most of the time they have good habits, right? And once you identify your ineffective habits, right, or effective habits, yeah, then you have somewhere to start from. Now, you need to recognize what is going wrong. So you need to, as I said from the beginning, I've been creating some self-awareness about myself, like evaluating, really going deep to how I am as an individual, how I can improve and be where I want to be and unleash the potential that I may have. Every single person, you have fundamental, you got a phenomenal amount of potential, yeah? Even we've been having this conversation. In 5 years' time, look how far this podcast can go. 3rd of July, I'm saying that.
Mark the
2020, right? But it just shows, but we need to get the habits. It's all about consistency. You get me? So once we get ourselves in check, then everything will follow.
Okay. What advice would you give to, because obviously we'll talk about your specific property deals, but what was it like before you started property, and what habits would you encourage newbies to property or business as a whole to start developing before they even get into the crux of, right, now I've got to start trying to find a deal, now I've got to start trying to ring agents, now I've got to start educating myself. What sort of habits would you get them getting into the habit of doing?
Okay, I can only speak on what habits I've created in my life, which has had a positive and profound effect upon my results. So I've been learning to win the morning. If you win the morning, they say you win the day. That's quote number 4. So I've been focusing on Monday to Friday, getting up at 5 a.m. I kind of, wipe my eyes, make sure I'm awake, make my fruit, or should I say I break my fast. And I start reading from 5:30, either for half an hour or 45 minutes. And then I study, and then I work out, right? Don't work out 5 days a week, just 3 days a week. But those are the type of habits I've been getting in place. And then 9 o'clock I'm free. And it could be to practice or learn more about sales, right? I think that's really undervalued. Yeah. Very, very important. Whether you're having a conversation with an agent, with a landlord, or even networking, I think that's really important. So the best habits, I would say, what I've found very useful is being prepared, taking the time to reflect, and can't really say much on that, really. Those have been the most important factors, really.
I think you touched on one there that's really important, which is sales. I don't think on any other aspect of your life, unless you are in a job, you really think of sales as a skill. Unless you're in an actual job which requires it, you're not really learning it. And some people will just have it naturally. They just know how. They've just got the gift of the gab. There's nothing you can do about it. Some people need to learn it. But in every aspect of business and in life, you forget how important sales are. So to start off on the right foot, whether it be sales training online, whether it be watching people sort of like talking about sales or teaching it, or even trying to get some practice yourself, it is massively important.
100%. We are selling every day and being sold to.
100%.
Right? You can interpret sales as you asking for a girl's number. You're selling yourself. Even when you're trying to get a good discount at Curry's, you're selling the idea that it's cheap and it should be worth less, But in addition to the habits that I've been forming as well, I've gathered some more information now. I've been structuring a timetable throughout the week where I follow up old leads at a certain time during the week, right? I speak to agents at certain times during the week. I look for more property deals from landlords, or focus on direct to vendor letters and stuff like that. I haven't exploited that just yet, but it's in my timetable for next week. And as long as you create a system, you will be fine, really and truly, and hopefully those results will come in. As long as you stay consistent with it, something will come through.
No, I love that.
Good habits.
Morning routine, good habits, like I said, winning the day, and a little bit of sales thrown on top, and then jumping into business and sort of just expanding on those habits. Let's talk about property. Where do we even start? Take me right back to the beginning. You're a newbie. You're starting out. You've got this idea in your head. I want to do property, and I want to be a property entrepreneur. How, number one, where does the thought come from? And why property? And then number two, talk to me a little bit about how your property journey has been.
Okay. Property is one of the pillars of wealth. So taking it way back in regards to getting myself on the ladder, I spent some time working with an established company, right? In order to gain some sort of reference to allow the bank to get me some finance so I can put a mortgage on the house. I got a mortgage accepted, right? And this was for a property in Longbridge, 3-bedroom place, was about 84k or so. It's a leasehold. The council was actually the guys who own the freehold, so plenty of years. But even back then, I had this is not too long ago, I had a investment cap on my head. I was thinking, okay, if I live in one of the rooms, I can rent the other two. The rent's all right around here. You know, I can work something out. But during that time as well, I was literally starting my property journey. And I was thinking, I'm going for the deal now. I'm thinking, this is not the best of deals. Despite me getting like 4,000 off the price, but that, I think at the time, was the price, not the value.
Yeah, so it's overvalued just a little bit, isn't it?
It's vital, right? And I was thinking, hold on, I've got some people that I see are getting properties below market value, putting out their money, and essentially got the property for free, and then reinvesting that money and going on and on. But hold on, I'm about to invest £10,000 or so, deposit, decorate the place, you know, creme de la creme furniture, as you may know. I think at that time I was single as well. So, of course, we need a bachelor's pad, you know, similar to this house. Right?
What about the sofa, fridge, TV?
Yeah, I've seen you lying down there just chilling. Yeah. But I needed, you know, it's a stepping stone. It's good. So, you know what? What if I can make that 10,000 into 15,000 and 20,000, you know? What's more important now? And then rent to rent sprung to mind, or rent to HMO, or rent to SA, whatever strategy you choose to go down. And I was thinking, I was really into this rent to rent stuff. And I was like, okay, maybe I should pull out this mortgage and then start a rent to rent business and get some cash flow. But my goals at the time wasn't just to get an asset for the sake of it. Even though I would have, if I had the knowledge that I could pull out my money, I would have went down that route, but it just wasn't the right property. However, second to that, let me start a rent-to-rent business where I can build a lot of cash flow and then quit the job and become fully self-employed, reduce my time on the tools, have that business ticking over in the background, earning me, you know, between £700, £1,000 in the background. And then I do my little jobs here and there to build connections with landlords and so and so. And then invest my time into sourcing. As you and I know, that sourcing is very time intensive.
Very.
So if you're getting a consistent income, then you can spend as much time on sourcing as you wish, as long as you get the deals. You know, many deals fall through, things don't happen. You know, Tom, Rob's pull to get that, and it just doesn't go through as we should. So, but now I'm looking at opportunities when I'm talking to investors under my new sourcing company. I'm thinking, okay, if I look at these deals, I can actually use my set of skills, which is in gas and plumbing and stuff like that, right? And then use that into the strategies which I can mostly profit from, rather than the rent to rent stuff, right? Which, rent to SA, that's what strategy I'm doing, as you may know. But as you know, it's you need to be good at marketing to really, really get the business booming. You need to be really good at marketing, or you need to know someone in the business that can help you with the marketing. Otherwise, Booking.com, Airbnb going to chew up all your profits, right? True. But, it's been okay for me at this moment in time. I'm getting cash flow from the business, which is good. And I'm just looking at opportunities where I can work with investors.
Okay, so let's rewind it. So you've got 2 essays currently.
Yes.
One which is actually quite close here, which we did a live video in actually a while ago.
That's correct,
You did that up nice, actually, to be fair.
Thanks. Not too bad.
And your quotes all over the wall as well.
Right.
So you got your first one. Talk us through the process and how you're feeling about your first deal. Or was it just plain sailing? Did you get your first deal straight away? And then tell us about how you progressed on to deals after that.
Nothing is plain sailing. And whoever tells you that, right, stay far from that person, right? Because nothing good comes easy, right? Maybe some people get the silver spoon, but in my situation, that will never be the case and has never been the case, right? So how I got my first deal is, as I said, I was educating myself from rent to rent, and I decided to fill my gaps of knowledge by getting a mentor. At the time, the mentor was offering like 3 packages, right? I chose the cheapest one because I had already had some knowledge. A little tip for the property newbies as well. If you do choose to go down a particular strategy, at least invest some time reading about the subject, because you could be paying a mentor when you don't need to.
They're teaching you what you already know.
Yes. When you can get that knowledge and whatever gaps you have, then so and so. But that's not to, hang any mentors out to dry, right? Because you're paying that mentor for their time, their experience, and the money they have invested in their education, right? And I don't know about you, but I would like to spend, £5,000 on mentoring rather than losing £20,000 because of lack of knowledge.
True.
So I decided to get a mentor, my first rent to rent, and it worked out well. It's just that at that time, there was a whole leap of factors that led to the demise of that, right? It's because, it was a 4-bedroom place in Smethwick opposite the Metropolitan Hospital that's currently being built, right? Good location. Yeah. And, there's like mouse droppings in the property when I was like,
oh, you're joking,
decorating it. The intention was to whitewash the whole thing, but I see mouse droppings, and to be honest, my heart wasn't completely in the deal. And for a number of factors, once again, it's because of the area. I kind of put myself in the customer's shoes, whether I wasn't even too sure what I was going to do. I had a rent to rent mentor at the time, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to do SA or rent to HMO. I heard SA's got some good money, so naturally, you want to go down the SA route. So yeah, the mouse droppings was one factor, and the fear of not working out, which really just made me a bit shocked. And the fact I'm going to spend all this money and it don't work out, or the area. I was finding reasons why it wouldn't work rather than why it would work.
Was that because of a gut instinct, or was that because of a fear of, it's just my first deal, I've got that fear? Or was there something inside you that just didn't feel like this was right?
It's my gut. It was my gut. It's just something just didn't sit 100%. And even the agent was very dishonest about the history of the property.
Okay.
And I actually found some details of the previous tenants, and I contacted them. I said, have you ever had experience with mice and bed bugs and stuff like that? I said, yeah, they're part of the furniture. Even next door, I knocked on the door and said, what's going on? Is this natural and that? And for Smedic said, yeah, it's natural. The agent tried to tell me that it could be because the hospital is literally digging up on the ground and things start popping out, but no, it's not that.
Nonsense.
Just the fact that they were dishonest and a number of factors, as I just previously explained, it was just a bit too overwhelming for me. So I thought to myself, you know what, I'm backing out of this deal. I'm thankful for those who helped me on the deal, but luckily for me, I got my deposit back and I got my first month's rent. So the only thing I lost was time and money, a few £100, but again, experience, and taught myself another lesson, which was to trust in your instincts. They're there for
100%.
a reason. So, but luckily, a few weeks later, I got myself another property, which was in Bearwood, right? But during that time, my friend recently, got a property not far from the first one. I never knew he had one around there, and I called him. I said, how's things going? He said, yeah, I got a property, but it's not doing too good at this moment in time. I never knew he actually had it. And I was like, well, that is so crazy, because obviously he was doing room lets and stuff like that. So it was not the best, apparently. So I was like, okay, that's a blessing.
Yeah.
It's better than, furnishing the whole place, spending about £4,000 and getting things up and running, just to know that it's a slow return or it's just not going to work. It could have worked, yeah, but at the time the hospital wasn't up and running.
It would be a while, innit? It's
Yeah, it'd be a little while,
yeah.
and therefore it would take a while for me to get my investment back. So let me look for another opportunity. I found it, and I was like pestering the agent with this one because I needed this now. I needed it. And prior to that, if you're self-employed and you're going for the rent to SA strategy, then ensure that you have enough income coming from your business. So when the agent checks if you're able to afford the rent, right, you will pass.
Yeah,
I made
smart.
sure that about £1,800 was going into my account consistently each month to ensure that there would be no reason for me not to get that property.
It's a
right?
good little tip.
I was covering all the angles, right? And even positioning myself as a company, because you got a lot of people doing rent to rent.
100%.
So I'm like, it's all good. Obviously, you got the group and that, and people like to share this and that. It's all good. But at the same time, we are all in competition in a way.
Yeah.
Right? And it's good to recognize that. So I'm looking at ways how to distinguish myself from the market and how to, position myself essentially, right? Which is really important. And luckily, I got the keys with 7 days rent-free.
Is that it?
That's
Jeez.
all, unfortunately.
Okay.
And my first deal, actually, I forgot to tell you, I got 14 days rent-free period.
It's a
so
bit nicer.
yeah. And I had to give the property in a better condition than I received it, essentially, whitewashed everything, but that's besides the point. But yeah, I got this property up and running in 6 days, painted it, everyone on board, very thankful for everyone who helped me on that project once again, furnished it, everything. And, when it was live, I had a mad party, right? Because at the time I was just letting in a few contractors during the week, and I had weekend bookings. I was practically winging it, right? And I was winging it because I didn't have a mentor, right? The only bit of guidance I had was from books, YouTube, people online, and also I had joined an academy, if I didn't mention. And during that academy, I had literally one seminar about SA, and looking back on it, that didn't even touch the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more to it. It's like broad daylight robbery. essentially, right? And at least give everybody, let everyone know what they're getting into, because this can financially cripple you if you don't know what you're doing. A lot of people fell victim and lost money through this. And
you quit shortly after that, didn't you?
I quit shortly after because I began to listen to my instincts and see the signs and see this and see that. And it's just, I had to get out, to be honest.
Yeah. I remember watching that video. So if anyone hasn't checked it out, actually, it's your first ever one. It's a great video. But I remember you mentioning in there the exchange for value, the exchange of knowledge for the financial exchange just did not match. For example, the price that you paid versus what you were getting back just did not match. Yeah. But regardless of that, you still decided to go and do your own thing, follow your own route. For any newbies that are watching this, just to rewind it just slightly before we get on to your second essay, because that's a story in itself. What methods did you use to approach landlords, agents and everything to get your first deal? What did you do specifically, or what did you try and what did you fail at? What did you do well at?
Man, sometimes I run around in circles, right? And there's nothing specific, right? I was just winging it, hoping for the best, channeling all my energy, as I previously stated, or should I say my passion, into hoping something will work. Picking up tips on what people do and do this and do that, and kind of going for it, essentially. So I don't have a method, in a way, if I'm being completely honest.
Just persistence.
Yeah, it's just persistence all the time. I wasn't letting agents mug me off. Like,
You've got a little nickname of something that you created. For anyone that doesn't know, in the group we call it the Kenan effect. There's actually a video of this, and I don't even know what he's like when he's at home. But it's basically how you handle objections, and it's probably the best and funniest but most effective thing I've ever seen. Whereby, for example, if any newbies are watching this, you'll often get told no by an agent just straight away. No, we don't do this. No, we don't do that. No, we don't do this. And your first question is, but why?
Yeah.
Okay, but why don't you do that? Okay, but if it makes you X amount, or I bring you X amount of clientele, or you get so and so as a result of this, why don't you do it? Okay, are you actually the right person to talk to? Because I know I've spoke to other agents, you know what I mean? Yeah. And obviously got nicknamed the Kenan effect. I think everyone starts using it now, to be honest with you. I don't know how much money you've made people out of that one thing. You should probably copyright it.
It's not enough, to be honest.
But have you always been like that, in terms of like, you don't take your first objection as this is gospel? Okay, I've got to walk away now. Have you always questioned everything?
It goes, always question everything in life, even Sky News. Yeah. Free thinking, right? So I'm taking it back to what I said from the beginning. It's like my passion, persistence, like this has got to work for me, right? So I'm not too fussed about what Matt says at the desk at an estate agent who just recently joined. You're not the person I need to talk to. I need to speak to somebody else. And see, my experience has molded me into a resilient individual, and I'm very assertive. I need to get what I want, obviously in a respectable manner, but be a bulldozer, like, you know what I mean? I can humbly say I'm street smart, so I know when somebody's trying to mug me off on the road, right? From when an agent's trying to give me some poor excuse. So I'll just essentially put it on them, put them on the spot, should we say.
It's funny that you say that, because as soon as we started doing it, a lot of us adopted this method. I actually filmed so many times just to show people that they actually crumble under the pressure, and then all of a sudden it's hang on a second. And this goes back to you are a company. Although you're an individual, you represent a company, so you can be as big as you feel like you can be. Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
And that's what it comes down to.
Look, I've adjusted my language so much that I'm having a conversation, I'm saying we all the time.
100%.
It's just, I'm just conditioned to say it now.
Yeah.
But you can, in a way, say we, because like you're speaking in the future. Like,
So true.
this big company I'm about to build. But, you know, at the time, you can say I and I this, but need to feel and sound bigger than you are. Taking it back, that agent is standing in the way of my success.
True.
So someone's got to go down, right? Or they can just join me on the journey and just help me. You know, I don't need to be fobbed off. I just want the truth, and we can move forward. I'm there as a rent-to-rent company. I'm providing a great service, but it's about exchanging or allowing them to see the light.
And educating them,
yeah, making that light bulb ping in their mind. And that comes from the sort of language that you convey to the agent, right? And that's why sales is so important, because once you understand sales, you begin to understand that every word is calculated. Even when people are writing a persuasive piece of writing, that's why I'm learning about marketing. Even down to certain words or things, it's all there to create interest and get some curiosity up and running, and ultimately get some desire, and then for them to contact you, right? Yeah. So, yeah, it's all about that, man.
Yeah, if anyone wants to see any examples or that clip, I don't know if it's on your actual Facebook, but if not, join the Facebook group. It's under units. I've tagged it so everyone can see it.
It's on yours.
Yeah, it's on Property Newbies, but it's definitely one to watch purely for the basis of handling objections, learning the language, not taking no for an answer,
of course.
And obviously ultimately getting the conversation to be able to talk to the decision maker, not the first person who's normally the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
And like you said, just another tip as well, if you do want to look bigger than you are, get your laptop, YouTube, Office Sounds Volume 2, and every time you make a phone call, it's got office sounds in the background. It's amazing. You got to do what you got to do.
I got 2 tips. I know, even though we're having this conversation, I may be making reference to the people, because, as I said, it's just naturally within me to help people. So I'm like, check this and check this out, right? So one book that really got me thinking, I've told you what it is. You know which one I'm talking about, right? Zig Ziglar.
You know it.
Yeah, Zig Ziglar, Closing the Sale. Man, that is so powerful. Have you got it?
Got it, man.
Powerful.
You
didn't read it, have you?
I've got it, but I haven't got the actual physical copy of the book, which is what I feel like I need. Because I need to see it as well as hear it. But
outline it.
It's how he breaks down every single word, and I think it's more as well just the psychology behind putting them in a position where you can then fully do what you sell, what you need to sell, get the decision that you need to get. It's crazy.
It's crazy, because there's one thing that I would share with you guys, right? Is that persuading someone is not telling, it's asking.
100%.
That's it. And leading them to a decision where they think of the decision rather than you imposing that decision upon them. So it's just a game changer.
It is.
And even then, we take sales, and even now I'm learning about psychology as well. Psychology, law, tax, property, all these things that we're not taught in school, I'm learning about, because it's important. And I'm seeing psychological tactics. Once you understand, psychology, it's like
your eyes are
open, wide.
You see it everywhere.
They call it third eye. It's open, and you take a step back and look at the kind of tactics that the media are presenting to us. You're like, whoa, they sound like some good tactics, right? And it's crazy, and we're not going to jump into that, but the whole face masks and the whole 2 meters is good social conditioning. Right?
Don't worry, we will talk about the other stuff. Don't worry. So take it back to the first essay then. Just talk me through the rest of that process for you.
So the first essay, I got a few bookings on Airbnb. It was going well. And, unfortunately, I got a party, right? Slipped through the cracks. But fortunately for me, my instincts, again, for those who've actually seen my YouTube channel, I actually bought a Ring camera the same day. It's crazy. If I didn't, man, it would be like the biggest block party that Birmingham's had since Blues won the league.
It was
I don't know when was that.
huge. People pouring out into the streets and everything.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And I learned a lot about that. But luckily, I got there in time. Neighbors called me. I had given my number to the neighbors, and I said, "Listen, if anything pops off, let me know, because I'm here to make friends, not here to make any enemies. So anything, just give me a ring." Luckily, they had my number, and I visited the place, and I was very diplomatic. There's only, my friend and I, who we dealt with the situation quite well. We should have called the police earlier than we did, because things did get out in a way. But it ended well. Nobody got hurt. So
how did you feel, by the way? Because there were quite a few people in the video at that party to face that level of confrontation. Because this is something I was talking to Christian about on his podcast, where that is actually part of owning a property.
Yeah.
You have to be confrontational to a point. Not is it in a way that ignites something, but if a tenant's taking the mick or someone's hosting a party, you have to be the person that goes there and deals with that.
Look, the tongue is stronger than the weapon, right? And that's been written, or it's been in the Bible for quite some time. I'm not religious, but I read between the lines and apply certain things to life, you know what I mean? But the tongue is more powerful than a weapon. So if it was quite early, about 10, 11 o'clock, I arrived, and my whole aim, I did have some, thoughts which would have escalated the situation. But I'm older now, I'm smarter now, so we deal with situations differently. The best way to defend yourself is to not get into trouble.
Yeah.
Initially, prevention is better than cure. So if you can have a chat with the main person and say, "Look, so and so and so," then that's how you should deal with it first. And obviously, be in a position where you can defend yourself, right? I'm a big advocate for that, but try and deal with it with your words first. And gladly, because they weren't very old, they was relatively young, like 17, 16, etc., some 18, 19, but they was putting up in Benzes and stuff like that. So there's certain individuals that were of age, but I dealt with the situation the way I could have. So how I did. So it's all good. But long story short, that came to pass. The neighbors didn't like me for a little while, but they understood it's just one occasion. It kind of blew the case. Everyone knows it's the Airbnb now, so it's a bit crazy. Everything had to be toned down, etc. But during that time as well, I was looking for contractor bookings. I was hearing about how people got these type of bookings. I thought, let me take 2 pence off that man and 2 pence off that mental, and so on, kind of put something together and see what can happen. You see me walking through town, visiting different construction sites, trying to speak to somebody who can point me in the right direction. And lo and behold, I jumped on a building site and I spoke to a gentleman. I just asked him, "Do you have any people working away from home at this moment in time?" He said, "No." "Okay, do you know anybody who will be arriving soon?" And they said, yeah, actually. I was, "Well, can I have his number?" And I got his number. I called him. I made sure I quoted the gentleman's name who had given me the number, because then it becomes a warm call, right? A good tip for you as well. And you're just leveraging off somebody else's name. But, it took about a month or two to get that deal over the line, because I was consistent. But they needed the place, and they essentially didn't know me from Adam or Eve. So I was quite fortunate to get that underneath my belt, but I took my time with it. I didn't hard sell. I don't want to scare them away. I was saying, "Okay, no problem, let me know, okay, blah, blah, blah." Just keep it going, get Airbnb, little bookings on the side, and to keep me ticking. But lo and behold, I landed the booking. They checked out literally this week, Monday, and they was there for like 8 months or so. And to break down the figures, I say this humbly, it was £1,300 profit each month. Now, you know, for me, that's massive, but for some people doing an essay, they'd be like, yeah, that's not a lot of money. But at the end of the day, from the thought of setting up an essay or even getting a contract or even understanding it to the point where I'm gaining profit, and I'm like, whoa, I got my return back. I invested, I think, about £4,000 or so into the deal. I've got that back in no time. And then I've used that money, but the profit from that deal, to reinvest it into my second essay.
It's amazing.
Yeah, because that was the whole objective, to get 2 essays by the end of the year, cash flowing, so I can enter this year, 2020, into a different property strategy, such as property sourcing. So now I can part with my time whilst I got something ticking in the background. I've officially got a second income, and it's paying me now instead of waiting for a return. So, and even the second essay is doing well. I'm really pleased with that. And that move was very strategic. I made sure, even though there's no comparables in the area actually, to say, okay, maybe this will kind of go okay because this property is doing okay. At the time, I didn't know really how to compare deals in a way. I was asking people, and they say Airbnb DNA. I was like, okay, and
that's a classic mistake, man.
You know what I mean? There's so many other things. I'm looking on YouTube, finding out where I can compare stuff, and I thought to myself, you know what? I hear a lot of people talking about hotels, stuff like that. I'm thinking, whoa, there's so many hotels within this area. Maybe it can work, because you know, and I know, hotels do intense due diligence in the area before investing, because they invest in more than I am.
100%.
And I'm looking at the area and thinking, whoa, there's 3 Premier Inns in the space of probably 2 miles. You've got Travelodge there, and you've got another hotel there, and you've got another hotel there. Okay, maybe it'll work. And prior to me getting the keys, I invested some time during different nights of the week and looking at who was staying at those hotels. Damn, there's vans, endless vans everywhere. I'm like, oh my. Amazing. I was just licking my lips and I was rubbing my hands like this, like, yeah, this is it. But not only that, I went to the extent where I was talking to receptionists and saying, you know, pretend I want to book a room. I was thinking, one time I was like, love, I've been trying to book this place, right, throughout the week, and it's just crazy. It is just, I had to get my acting going. Absolutely crazy. What's going on here? She goes, I'll tell you what, all these contractors taking all the rooms. Contractors, where are they coming from? The source. You know, because it's so close to the whole the motorway and nice, this and that. It's like, okay, okay, that's it. That's enough for me. Okay, let's get it done. I see other properties in the area. I'm thinking, all I need to do, okay, my rent is so low, I can be so competitive, and obviously you need to find a USP. My USP is, because my rent is so low, I can charge some good prices. From the top of my head now, I can charge between £63 and £65, 15 nights, and break even. For those who sit in a service accommodation, before you do that, make sure you break even at 15 nights. That's taking into account all the expenses, right? So I'm thinking, okay, all I need to do is price it competitively, which I can because my expenses are really low, right? And then all I need to do is deliver the quality of accommodation. So it wasn't the best of conditions. It was a huge refurbishment, right? I tipped everything upside down, changed practically everything. The only thing that's not what's been the same is practically the skirting boards and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And the doors. But no even that,
in this one.
No mouse droppings, thankfully. It's good. So yeah, undertook that project. It worked out well. I got all my furniture at a good price at the auction and stuff like that. So good quality. Not compared to my first one. I feel like I could have done really better, you know, but you learn, you know. I've got divan beds that haven't even got like decent type of material, like, you know, you kind of, with the divan bed, you can change the material around at the bottom and that. So, but this is like just plain stuff, like white cream. It's just ugly. It's just ugly. So, but now I'm thinking, yo, stepping it up now. But imagine from the moment I got my first essay I knew I was going to get a second one, just a matter of time. So I was stacking things up like mattresses, obviously good ones and that, and beds and stuff like that. Whatever I can get my hands on from family and friends and whatever, storing it and then banging it into place. So it was good. That essay has served me well. I'm just happy, really, because I've achieved my goal before the year ended. Which
that was your target, wasn't it?
That was a target.
2 essays.
2 essays. Boom. But I'm happy. I'm very pleased. We've had contractors in that place. I know I can remain very competitive within the market as well. And, you know, during this whole COVID thing, I believe I can survive because I can offer that value for money. You know, what we're seeing now is, you know, everybody has to evaluate their money, right? So companies may be looking at shrinking their expenses, so therefore they need to meet a certain budget, right? So when they're looking at certain budgets, they're like, we can offer you this if you want, you know, 3 men in here, you know, £63. You know, you can't complain. Or if you want, my place can fit 9 people, right? There's 3 rooms. And even then, if it doesn't work as an essay, I can rent the rooms out and still make a profit, right? But I can fit 9 people in my place, right? But one of the rooms, I got 3 single beds. And I've got a double in one room and a king size in the other. So you can get at least 5 men, and I can probably charge £65 and still survive. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But I can be reasonable and say, look, contractors, for this, if you want contractors, don't give them the price that you can offer. Ask them, well, what is your price per head? Yeah, and then you gauge it from that, because you could undercut yourself. And some will say, oh, it's only £18, it's only £20, it's only £25. Okay, I'll take £25, right? And you know, and do it that way. But yeah, it's served me well. It's a really good investment.
To be honest with you, even despite the crisis, I still feel like you would have found a way around it, because you're very much about, if I see a problem, let me see if I can come up with a solution around it. I remember when I was like in your van, and you literally drove past the drive and say, reversed, had some leaflets, and you go, right, okay, if my contractors ever leave, I need to make sure that I'm fully booked up soon and ready to go soon as they go. But I always feel like I think you probably sometimes even like the challenge of a problem, knowing that you can come up with a solution and even try and then just sort of like walk out the other side as like, you know what, I did that kind of thing, because you've already proved you've done it from your first one where you let it go, and then you've got 2 essays, contractor bookings for like almost 8 months, which is just insane. I can't even imagine where you're gonna go from here, man. It's mad.
It's very important as well, because even though that small victory seemed like a far stretch, you know, at the beginning of the year, 2019, I've accomplished that now. So that has gifted me the confidence and also the realization then what is possible after this. Yeah. Because when we look at things and think, okay, geez, I never knew that was possible. We've achieved it now. Damn, the world is mine. Things become more tangible. So, you know, that's what has propelled me to other property strategies and thinking, okay, if he's doing it, I can do it. We've all got 24 hours, just that the way we conduct our lives, the habits we have, and the people that we spend our time with, and be in the right circles and just getting what we deserve. But first, you got to stay consistent and making sure when opportunity arises, you're there.
Love it. Just to wrap this up then, my bro, I think we need to do a part 2 probably at some stage. I mean, we still got loads
of questions.
We're almost getting to the end of these questions, man. So like,
fire your questions. Let's get them.
All right, come on then. Let's do two questions. We'll do a quick fire round, 1 minute answers, and then we'll go. And I'll pick out the best thing in our question. I
feel like I'm under pressure now, because you just emphasized.
Take a sip of that.
Nah, I ain't got time for that.
All right, first question, number 1. I saw you do this on your Facebook Live. You put out a status which said, if a recession does hit, are you ready? Right. Give me some advice for people, what people should be prepping for, even if it's just in a general overview. Okay.
I can't advise people what they should do, but I'll tell you what I'm doing, right? I'm preparing myself physically. I'm preparing myself economically, and I'm equipping myself with the right knowledge, right, that I can use in markets that will generate huge amount of wealth, right? So all this time that people are doing during lockdown, that may lead to their detriment. But I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm upskilling. I'm reading. I'm getting myself prepared for what is coming, because we all know there's going to be a second spike, right?
100%.
And unfortunately, that could be the plan, right? Yeah. But I'm preparing myself by every means I can, and whoever I care for, I'm telling them, look, you need to prepare.
Yeah.
You need to do this. You need to do that. If people who I know have got jobs, I'm like, listen, be in industries that are recession proof to secure
100%.
your income. Where all these people are furloughed and they believe that things are going to get better. Some people may not, they may think, you know, things will get better, but some people are realistic about it. Things are going to go downhill. But what are you doing to prepare yourself now? Because we all know the ship is going down, right?
100%.
And I'm not someone of great status, right? In terms of, you know, what society considers, right? But, you know, once you become a free thinker, then you put all the signs together.
I feel that. How can you have unemployment going through the roof? You've got small businesses closing down. You've got people defaulting on mortgages. You got the American economy, which is just a mess. Fed printing money like it just doesn't mean anything, and the media don't even acknowledge it. Stock market seeing booms, which it's literally trading at where it should be in 2-3 years time. Like it's just insane. All of that is going to explode in everyone's face, unfortunately. And like you said, this is the time where you spend it prepping, building a foundation, and getting ready for what is to come, man. It's all about the preparation.
There's a lot.
Last question, my bro. What is the future for Mr. Ke'nan Buckley? Talk to me, man.
Great things. I say that with confidence. I need to speak it into existence, right? I want to build wealth, help people as well. I want to fulfill my potential, right? I feel like I can achieve great things. I just need to know the right stuff and be around the right people and just be who I am. So I want to expand on my property knowledge, and man, I want the wealth. So I don't actually want to be in this country, essentially. I want to be in a place where I can walk out and pick fruits off the trees in a way, but I know that property is the closest vehicle that can get me to that place the quickest. So that's why I'm channeling my energy into this, so I can put myself in the right position and set myself up, and also set other people up as well that I care for, you know. So not only doing it for me, I'm doing it for others as well. So it's all about legacy. Depends
It's all
on
about the legacy,
remember,
man.
it's not all about legacy as in the wealth. You know, this podcast is going to be a legacy. You know, music that I may produce in the future will be a legacy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm leaving something behind for people to greatly benefit from. So
Yeah,
that's
man.
the future,
It comes down to that question of what do you want to be remembered for, man. And like I said, you can use a vehicle to generate wealth or any type of sort of just anything which you can then leave a mark. And it doesn't always have to be wealth. It can be the things that you say. It can be the way that you treat people. And I've seen the way that you've done this all the way throughout, sort of from your younger years right through to now, man. Kenan, my bro, absolute pleasure, man. Give me a toast to this tea.
I want to be remembered as someone with integrity, full independence, a person who stands up for justice and truth, moving forward, because that's everything. Look at all the legends that have come and gone. What's more important, them or the message? The message,
man. You got two
lives
legends on the wall. Well, three actually.
That's it, man. So that's what I want to be remembered as. moving forward.
This is what I think. So obviously I've known you for a year and about a year and a half now.
Yeah,
You literally hit up my DMs when I first started property. You remember. Don't try and shy away from it now, bro. You hit me up now, but it was crazy because we started talking, and obviously you were saying like you're a Birmingham investor. I was like, so am I. So we just started hitting it off from there. And then to see you like progress all the way through your journey from, because you're a big advocate of documenting what you do, and I love that. You're real about it. You said something in one of your YouTube videos, which you obviously try and talk about as well, is you don't normally post your L's, but that suddenly changed. You started to post what went well, what hasn't gone well, and people learn a lot from your videos. And I think as well, it's a good mix of not only knowledge, because I every time you're on a live, I'm like, yo, guys, it's story time. Everyone needs to jump on. It's also quite inspiring as well, because you're honest about your upbringing, you're honest about what you were like in your younger years, and you're honest about everything that's happened from there up to now. It's humbling, and like I said, I think you appeal to an audience of people that are just honest and want to see a real human being without all of this fluff around them. Just go through the journey, document it, tell people, inspire people, and that's ultimately what your message is. The one thing that I do take away from you, and I don't know if it's just an energy that I get, but I do feel like when I'm around you, I do want to self-improve. I don't know what it is. Like, I see you reading, I see you eating. Obviously, he bought his own like packed prep lunch, man, kidney beans and everything, man. I need to open some windows after this. It's vegetarian food, man. I'm telling you. But just every aspect of your life, from your self-improvement to your physical well-being, your mental well-being, and like I said, I know you're known as a lecturer, but you're more than open to sharing that info with other people, and that's what it's about, man. It's just about growing and learning together, man. So I appreciate you, bro.
No, I appreciate you and your time, man.
Man. Time was always gonna.
You're an
happen.
asset, you know that, right?
As long as you get your return on investment, bro, that's what about.
Man, I wouldn't even want the return. That's how much of an asset it is. Crazy, but yeah, genuinely, man. I'm glad that we've connected, should we say? Because
who'd have thought it, man?
I don't have many people within my life, or friends, should I say, that just keep it real type of thing and want to encourage you to greater things and stuff like that. So yeah, man, when people are like that and I recognize that, I like to pay homage, because it's rare, you know what I mean? So we keep it 100.
Appreciate it, man. And like I said, bro, you got a crazy future ahead of you, man. For those,
and hopefully you too.
Yeah, well, we go together in it. Like I said, for those that don't know, obviously, at some point we'll get a bit more info on this. But you're thinking about starting your own podcast?
Yes.
Tackling some deep issues.
Yeah, deep issues. I bought a mic. Actually, I've been thinking about creating a podcast for quite some time now. I'm like, you know what? I need to make a commitment. Let me just buy a mic, because once I buy a mic, everything will follow after that. So I'm like, okay, let's do this.
Perfect, man. My bro, I just want to say thank you very much. I don't know if we're allowed to do this for touchings. Now I'm joking.
Come on.
It's always gonna happen, bro. Bro, thank you very much for coming on the show, guys. Peace out.
Peace.